So now, we saw them warming up earlier. It's the men's 4x400 meters final. Just looking at the start list. Well, they're not the fastest team of the season, but having brought in Matthew Hudson-Smith on the opening leg, you have to think that Great Britain, Northern Ireland are the favourites. But on the inside, this is the Italian quartet of David Array, Vladimir Asete, Brian Lopez, who ran such a good race in the heat, and Eduardo Scotti. A strong Belgian team of Alexandre Doom, Julian Watrin, the Belgian 400 metres hurdler, record holder, Kevin Borley, and on this occasion it'll be Dylan Borley who has the anchor leg. The Netherlands with Isaiah Boers, then Marvin Bonavaccia, Joachim Dobber and Ramsey Angela. They've been clearly practicing their moves. I hope their baton changing is as slick. The Spanish, usually able to field a very strong quartet these days with Inaki Cañal, Luis Bua, Oscar Husilos and Samuel Garcia on the last leg. It's the same quartet that ran in the heats for the Czech Republic and ran very well, with Matej Krasek, world indoor champion on several occasions. Pavel Maslak taking the second leg. Michael Desensky, and he's followed by Patrick Sorm. The French of Gilles Biron, Loic Prévost, Theo Andon, and Thomas Hordier. Hordier, former European under-20 champion, both individually and in the 4x400 meter relay. And the Germans, big roar for Marvin Schlegel, Patrick Schneider, Mark Kopp and Manuel Sanders. But for my money, these are the favourites. Interesting decision to put Hudson-Smith on the opening leg. And then it's going to be Charlie Dobson, the 200 metres finalist, on the second leg. Lewis Davey, who ran so well for Great Britain, Northern Ireland in the heats. And Alex Haydock-Wilson, the bronze medalist from the 400 metres on the anchor leg. So 2 individual medalists for Great Britain, Northern Ireland. They start in lane 8. Well, you can see on season's best, Great Britain, Northern Ireland, one of the weaker teams. But I think we don't need to worry too much about that. And I think the European leading times are going to be heavily revised after this race. Just a marquee card. The championship record of 2:58.22 also stands to Great Britain, Northern Ireland, and dates back to 1990. So as you just see, lineup. There's Alexander Doom and David Array, a few years ago Europe's #1 400 meter runner. Italian record holder, not quite in the same form at the moment. So from the inside, it's Italy, Belgium, the Netherlands, slow to get down in their blocks, Spain, Czech Republic, France, Germany, and on the outside in lane 8, Great Britain and Northern Ireland. And the stagger doesn't unwind until into the second leg. Well, Matthew Hudson-Smith only needs a couple of strides to start pulling away from his German counterpart, Manuel Sanders. Hudson-Smith, though, will be running blind for this entire leg. But he's running a terrific race at the moment. Also running well is Isaiah Boers of the Netherlands. But Hudson-Smith having an absolutely blinding leg. He's run a blistering time. The rest, well, they're just battling for second place at the moment. Hudson-Smith, a big gap. Coming through strongly at the moment. It's the Belgium also, as well as France. Gilles Biron once again running a good opening leg for the French. But the British hand over first. So we're just coming up to the breaking point. Charlie Dobson just about to head for the inside, and he cuts across right the way from lane 8. He's got a 2-meter advantage over Julian Wateren. Wateren ran Belgian national record in the 400 meters hurdles earlier in these championships, but it's Dobson, this versatile youngster, 4th in the 200 meters, and he's also a very, very accomplished 400 meter runner. And it's Dobson maintaining the lead ahead of Belgium and France. The Netherlands, Limavin Bonavaccia, straining and struggling to hand over the baton to Joachim Dobbe. No doubt at all, though, Britain's Lewis Davey has got the lead, and he's starting to move away from the men behind them. It's a 4-way battle for silver and bronze at the moment, with the French in front. But right the way ahead by a good 3 meters, it's Lewis Davey. Davey running a very competent, very assured third leg for Great Britain. Round the outside, it's Oscar Husilus, who was so disappointing in the individual 400 meters. Davey now starting to strain. The Belgians and the French starting to close in on the youngster. But Davey still holding pole position. Hands over first to Alex Haydock-Wilson. The French try and get up on Haydock-Wilson's shoulder. They're queuing up behind him, but this is a man who got the bronze in the 400 meters and is a very, very good lead anchor runner. So Haydock-Wilson in front with 250 meters to go. France's Thomas Jordier, a great relay runner in himself, tucked in behind him. The Belgians starting to slip back very, very slightly, and it's Spain in 4th at the moment with Samuel Garcia trying to get up into the medals. But it's Alex Haydock-Wilson holding the inside line, moving out into lane 2. The French and the Belgians have got to go the long way round if they're to get past Haydock-Wilson, but they don't. It's Britain gold. We'll give you confirmation of who else gets the medals. It looks like France followed home by Belgium, but it's very, very tight. But there's no doubt at all. And a terrific anchor leg for Alex Haydock-Wilson. Truly assured. And Great Britain, Northern Ireland win that race, having got the lead almost from the very first stride of Matthew Hudson-Smith on the opening leg.
National record for Spain in 4th. That's a super impressive performance, but it did take sub 3 minutes to get into the medals. France and Belgium were pulling each other ever so close to that British team. In the last 20 or 30 metres, you thought it could be anybody's. But Alex Haydock-Wilson of Great Britain and Northern Ireland holding on. Saw that lovely moment in the call room when Matt Hudson-Smith pointed at his head. He said to Alex Haydock-Wilson, I'm sure it was something along the lines of, you're going to have to get this really right. You could get the baton in the lead. They put their 2 weaker, inverted commas, athletes in the middle legs. Big hitters at the first and third. And what a great job from Dobson and his teammate to keep them in contention.
Well, Matthew Hudson-Smith, 2 individual golds, but he's gone from bronze in 2016, silver in 2018, and now gold with the men's 4x400 meter quartet for Great Britain and Northern Ireland.
Yeah, Belgium, of course, won this title 4 years ago, so they've swapped the top 2 back again. But Alex Haydock-Wilson was someone who was really disappointed with his run in the mixed relay at the World Championship. Said he didn't feel fully up to scratch and up to speed to take part. 2 inexperienced athletes, Dobson and Davey, in the middle of things, but Haydock-Wilson in the end brought it home. You just wondered whether the Frenchman Jordier was going to come past and then try and make it a race down the home straight, but Haydock-Wilson held on to the lead right until the end.
Dobbe and Desensky, this is the reality of 4x400 here. We're going to see it on the women's side as well. It's a very physical event. Normally these athletes are just separated in their own lanes. It's a different beast when you turn into a relay, even more so indoors. But that's also the advantage of having a good runner on your first leg. You can separate yourself from the pack and not have to deal with any of that drama. I think that was another team tactic from Great Britain and Northern Ireland that paid off in there. For them, Dylan Bourlet was fastest in the qualifying legs, the only athlete going sub 45, and that was another heroic leg from a Bourlet at the European Championships, but only enough for silver today.
Well, that was also a very astute bit of running over the final 50 or 60 metres by Alex Haydock-Wilson. He gently moved out into the second lane, and he didn't impede anybody, but if the French or the Belgians or perhaps the Spaniards were to get round him, they had to go the long way. They had to run those extra meters, and in the end they couldn't. Alex Haydock-Wilson, great tactics there down the home straight for Great Britain, Northern Ireland. A really, really clever bit of relay running from the anchor leg component of the British quartet.
So, of course, the women's 4x4 final to follow in a few moments' time. We've got to settle in the javelin for the women, and then the women's 3,000-metre steeplechase. Still to come this evening. Don't go anywhere.
Well, as the French settle down, they know they've got the bronze now. There's the result. Great Britain and Northern Ireland, 2:59.35. European leading time, just about a second outside the championship record, but an outstanding run from the British quartet.